So then guys, this is the 294 route going from Worcester to Kidderminster. So we departed from the University of Worcester and we started our journey at the Crowngate bus station below the Crowngate shopping centre. And we're on our way to Kidderminster. Now between Worcester and Stourport on 7, the 294 follows the 296 route, which is the Worcester to Bewdley service. Hence why I got the 296 footage on this first part of the video. The second part of the video got the 15C that goes between Stourport on 7 through the Burlish estate and onto the Stourport road. So that's the 15C footage between Stourport and the Stourport road through Burlish, and then the last part we've got the number 3 coming from Stourport road into Kidderminster. So anyway, here we go. We're now on our way towards Kidderminster on the 294. Now, this route used to be operated by First Worcestershire from when they used to operate in Kidderminster. And then First Worcestershire Kidderminster Depot, along with Redditch, was bought out by Diamond Bus. And Diamond did the 294 along with the 295 up until 2018, from when the Worcestershire County Council contract was awarded to Coniston Coaches. However, the 295 changed to be a 296 route, and instead of going to Kidderminster, it was integrated with the former Worcestershire County Council 16 route, Worcester to Bewdley, and they renumbered it the 296. The reason why the 296 didn't run to Kidderminster, because they already had the 15A and 15C going through the Wilden area, so there was just no point. And Coniston carried on with the Worcestershire contract and up until 2020. And then these routes, along with the S15, the 15A and 15C, were awarded to Aston's Coaches. The remaining Coniston contracts by Worcestershire County Council carried on up until September, and that included the 213 from Stourport to Heath-Astley-The, that only operates Thursdays. The 133 Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, Kidderminster to Droitwich, and of course my favourite route in Kidderminster, the 580 from Kidderminster up to Kimver in South Staffs, because that route was also operated by Diamond. The 133 was also operated by Diamond, but however that was given to the council before being passed on to Coniston. And after September, the 133 route was passed on to Finesse, the 213 was passed on to Wire Forest Isle Ride, while the 580 was passed back to Diamond Bus. And then the following year, the 15A and 15C was passed from Aston's to Diamond, and then finally last year in 2022, the 294, S15 and the 296 were passed back to Diamond Bus, and they continue under the same timetable. And so it was 2021 the 15A and 15C were passed from Aston's to Diamond, and September 2020 to October 2020 the 580 was passed back to Diamond Bus. And the 580 operates Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays only. There's no service on Mondays, Wednesdays and Saturdays. But however, that turned out not to be the case, because before, when Diamond did it originally, it used to run 6 days a week. But however, it was reduced to 3 days from when Coniston introduced the contract. And the same year, the 292 route, Kidderminster to Ludlow, via Cleobury Mortimer and the Clee Hills, was passed from R&B back to Diamond. But Diamond also used to do that as the 2L service that went via the estates. And Diamond has reinstated quite a few of their old routes, like going through Haberley and going up Park-Hill. And they've also got some of the old Transport for West Midlands contracts back, like they've got the 287 back, which changed to the 28 Starbridge Rail Zone via Merry Hill, and they've renumbered it the extended version of the 142 and added a 142A to replace the 298 and 299 partially. They also got the 657 back, which is the 57 at Stourbridge to Wall Heath. That was a 17A for a bit. And they've got the 17 Stourbridge to Dudley, which was also in part the old 267. And they've also got the 17H, the Alzone route back. So they have got quite a few of the old routes back, Diamond have. The only routes they didn't get back was the old 208, which is now the 14A and 24 Merry Hill to Dudley. The 24 used to go up the Fox Yards. So those routes are still operated on behalf of National Express West Midlands. Even the 61 route from Wolverhampton to Goldthorne Park. So most of those routes remain unchanged. However, the old 35B route, which became the 36 operated by Select, that's now been passed on to Chase Rider buses. And the 35A Walsall to Lacewood is also been passed on to Chase Rider buses. So that brings Chase Rider back into Walsall. They were absent in 2021, and then they came back from when they extended the 74 Stafford to Cannock service into the centre of Walsall, and they reintroduced the number 1 route from Walsall to Cannock because they withdrew that route, but that route was withdrawn previously by Arriva. And the number 2, which was the Huntington to Walsall, that got changed to the 74, meaning that section was then replaced by the 17 and the 71 routes. But then they withdrew the Huntington section suddenly, and the ones got withdrawn along with the 1A, and then they've turned it into a local service, only running between the Cannock, around the Cannock areas like Huntington and Cheslin Hay. So those are the routes that survive. So you've still got the 1s, but you just don't have the 2s anymore. The 3s used to run to Walsall, but however that got taken off, and then they shortened it to Brown Hills only. But however, you've got National Express services serving Cannock and Brown Hills area, like you've got the X51, which is the Cannock to Birmingham through Walsall, and of course you've got the number 8, which comes from Lichfield, that serves Brown Hills. And there's quite a few National Express services that serve Brown Hills to provide connections to continue into the centre of Walsall. So here we go, we are now on our way towards Stourport on the 294. And the 294, 296 routes are usually worked by ADL Enviro 200s, but however it's a bit of mixture of vehicles like Optare Solos, Versas, even a street light makes an appearance on it. There's quite a few different buses that come on the 294 and 296. However, when the 294 was reintroduced back with Diamonds, they used the Versa and they used the Volvo B7 RLA Right Eclipse Urban. So here we go, we're now on our way towards Stourport on 7. So I just hope that you're enjoying the journey so far here on the channel, Joe's Bus Train Plane Lift Adventures. And shout out to Black Country Traveller, you should do the 294 route, even if it's going to be virtual. So we're going from Worcester to Kidderminster. So we're just going down the country lanes. So we shall soon be arriving at Holt Heath. And of course, in Worcester there's loads of different operators. You've got First Worcestershire, which is the main provider. Of course you've got Diamond buses. You also got the Diamond bus to Redditch now, the 149. That used to be the Johnson's XL bus, and that used to be the 150 that used to go full into Birmingham. And speaking of Birmingham, the first 144 route, which goes to Catshill, used to go all the way to Birmingham. But that got withdrawn last year due to low patronage, and then that. But however, that section up towards Longbridge got replaced by NXWM's 144A route. But however, it was only a 70-minute frequency, and now that's been replaced by the 20 route going from Bromsgrove to the QE that used to run QE to Cofton, but however that part of the route is covered by the 20A, and that route is operated on behalf of West Bromwich Garage, and interworks with the 48 at the QE Hospital from the QE Hospital up to West Bromwich. And before, the 48 used to run to Northfield. First it went via King's Heath and then went to Northfield and then continued up to Weary Castle. So here we go. Okay then, continuing with operators within Worcester. So you've got First Worcestershire, that is the main provider in Worcester. And of course you've got Diamond once again, that does 294, 296, 303. And of course they've got the 302 to 6th form. And of course there's the 149, which is the Redditch one, which used to be run by Johnson's, and that used to be the 150 to Birmingham. Of course you've got LMS buses that do local services. You've got Aston's as well. And of course you've got Yarrington's, which we were following partially as far as Holt Heath, as the and that's the 758 route that goes from Worcester to Tenbury Wells. And that route is now continuing to serve Great Whitley, then up through Aberley, and then will be on its way towards Tenbury Wells. And of course we will meet up with Yarrington's again when we get to Kidderminster, because they run the 291 route, which was the old R&B service from Tenbury Wells into Kidderminster through Bewdley, and also via Clowes Top. So anyway, here we go. We're now coming over Lenchford now on the 294 route over Shrawley. So we also met up with the National Grid as well, because the National Grid marches through here. And you'd also see the National Grid, like they are smaller type of pylons, like with 3 arms on. You'd see them over on the 303 route, the Worcester to Kidderminster route, also on the 15 and the 16 route from us, and also on the 15 route from Kidderminster to Stourport, and of course you'll see some on the 15 Kidderminster, Merry Hill to Wolverhampton, and also the 16 Stourbridge to Wolverhampton. You'll also see them over on the 202 route from Bromsgrove to Alzowen, also on the 145 over Longbridge. You'll also see them on the 20 from Bromsgrove to the QE. Also you'll see them on other routes as well, like over on the Shrewsbury route, like the 10s from Shrewsbury into Telford, and of course on the 891 from Telford to Wolverhampton as well. So you'll see them on the Telford to Wolverhampton. You'll also see them on the 5 from Telford to Stafford, and also on the 877, 878 Wolverhampton to Stafford as well. I think you might see them on the 878, I'm not sure, but I know you'll see them on the 877. And also you'd see them on the 67 from Wolverhampton to Cannock as well. Anyway guys, here we go. We're continuing on our journey on the 294 towards Stourport on 7. So we're on our way to Stourport on 7 right now on the 294. And when we get to Stourport, we'll then continue on towards Kidderminster. So we'll continue on to Kidderminster. So once again guys, I hope you enjoy my videos here on the channel, Joe's Bus Train Plane Lift Adventures. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more exciting vlogs that'll be on the channel real soon. So here we go. We're now on our way towards so we're now on our way now towards Stourport on 7. So we're now on our way to Stourport on 7. And what I like to say is I hope that you're enjoying the journey so far. And so as you probably know, there are some changes coming up in September for most operators, and I will reveal them when they come up. And there's going to be quite a few changes happening with variety of different routes. It's going to occur in September, and I'll let you know what the changes will be as soon as possible, because I know there's going to be a lot of changes happening with in terms of routes, like with timetable alterations, routes being passed on to different operators, maybe routes that may no longer run again. But we don't know what's going to happen yet, but I'll let you know when the changes are revealed. Because as you probably know, last year we saw loads of different changes happening in terms of routes. Like we saw the 52A route, Princess of Wales Hospital to the Alexandra being shortened to Bromsgrove only. So the Princess of Wales Hospital is no longer served by a bus at all now. And of course we saw the 21 from Shrewsbury to Reebrook to be passed from Arriva to Lakeside coaches. Okay then, continuation of the journey on the 294 from Worcester to Kidderminster. So we're on our way to Kidderminster right now. So we're going to be entering the Wire Forest, which is of course Stourport. And so here we go. Now, when this route was operated by Coniston coaches, it was worked by a Scania Solar and the Optare Solos, and then the Optare Solo SRs came along. And then they started using other vehicles like coaches and minibuses. And when Aston's took it over, it was run by AGL Enviro 200, street lights, coaches, minibuses, and also an Enviro 300 as well. So an Enviro 300 has made an appearance on the 296, and also Diamond used to do this when it was the 295, and of course they did it on the 294. Even Aston's put the Enviro 300 on the 294, and I really like the Enviro 300s. They were great, and they were, because I like the good bodywork on them. They were just similar to the likes of the, well, I also like the Commanders as well. I like Commanders. I also like the Optare Solos, the Darts, the Volvos. I like a bit of every type of bus. So here we go. We're now on our way into, into Stourport on 7. And I also like the Plaxton Centro. So Diamond Kidderminster operate loads of different vehicles. They have Optare Solos, Optare Solo SRs, Volvo B7 RLE, Right Eclipse Urbans, and of course the Plaxton Centros and street lights. The previous fleet allocation they used to have Dennis Dart SLFs, even Expert Darts, and they also had Right Meridians. Remember them days, the man body vehicles? I remembered the man vehicles, and also the old man-bodied Plaxton Centros, which had now been converted to electric at Tividale. And also there was Optare Metro Cities. Remember the Metro Cities at Kidderminster as well? The ex-central ones, and now they've been taken over to the former Midland Classic base in Burton, but now to be commonly known as Diamond Bus East Midlands, because Diamond have now gone over to the East Midlands now, and that was since last year when they moved over to Burton. And last year was a big year for Diamond, since they were buying 3 companies out. First they bought out Clarabelle's of Sutton Coldfield, and that used to be, and they did make a few changes, but not all routes were part of the sale, because most of the routes were up for tender and they were passed on to the likes of NXWM. But however, Diamond did take over the Solihull one that was taken over by NXWM. So Diamond are now doing the Solihull one. That was the old S16 route. And of course, they did change a lot their routes as well. And of course, when you looked at the 75 route from Sutton Coldfield to Birmingham International, it no longer goes to the airport. Instead, it goes all the way to Tamworth It then took over one of the Tamworth local services, which was the 6 and 6A, which used to be the 16 and 16A. And of course, Diamond then went on to buy Johnson's XL bus. And however, that didn't last long with the Stratford work and the Solihull work, because they're all being tendered. Like, Stratford was tendered by Warwickshire Council, while Solihull was tendered by Transport for West Midlands. So, Stratford, Warwickshire, and then TFW went for Solihull, and they were all passed on to Stagecoach. The only remaining Johnson's routes left is the 149. Of course, Johnson's used to do the 182, 183, the Bromsgrove as well, in case you didn't remember. So those were the following routes. And then Diamond then went on to buy Midland Classic. The previous purchase, before Clarabelle's, Diamond bought out Bolton First Depot, and also they bought over Central buses from when they took over the 125 and the 142, and then they bought out Hanson's, and they also acquired the Arriva Wensfield network, and they've also bought out other companies like Ludlow's as well, of Alzoe. So they bought loads of different operators over the years, and it seems like that Diamond are starting to grow with loads of different routes, and we'll have to find out what's going to happen in the future with more routes coming, maybe, hopefully. Some route changes that might happen in September. It's like 2018 was a big year as well, with the National Express changes over Samuel and Dudley. The X96 from Wollaston Farm to Wren's Nest was changed to the 8. 276 Wollaston to Dudley changed to the 7. 246 Dudley to Stourbridge became the 6. So 246 became the 6. 257 also Dudley to Stourbridge became the 17. 16 256 Wolverhampton to Stourbridge became the 16. 255 became the 15, which was the Maryhill to Wolverhampton. The 222 Dudley to Maryhill became the 2. And the 243 Dudley to Maryhill became the 18. 244 to the QE Hospital from Dudley became the 19. The 241 was changed. It was rerouted as the X8, Wolverhampton to Birmingham through Blackheath, and the 241 got rerouted via the 127 and renumbered it the 14. And then the Birmingham section was renumbered the 13A. The 129 got scrapped on the Maryhill section and was renumbered the 13B and got rerouted as the 24 route when Diamond used to do the route. And the 128 Albury to Birmingham became the 13. The 120 became the 12, and the 121 between Dudley and Albury became the 12A, and also integrated it with the 120A. And the Blackheath section became the 3A to run to West Brom, while the 289 became the number 3 Maryhill to West Brom. So there've been loads of different changes with those routes, and of course the West Midlands bus partnership as well with Diamond and NX. However, it did take a short break in 2021 and then returned. So there was a lot of different changes that have happened over the years as well in terms of routes. So anyway, here we go. We're now on our way towards Stourport on 7. And also there was another route, the 205, that became the number 5 Dudley to Manor Park, King Swinford. So there was loads of different routes, and the X10 was extended up to Gornal Wood, and the 126 Birmingham to Wolverhampton, that was shortened to Dudley only and was replaced by the X7 and the X8. But however, those routes did have changes as well, with the X8 with the X7 being removed, and now the 8 runs to Wolverhampton. But we're going to see what's going to happen in September in terms of routes. I know Arriva made some changes as well back in 2018 as well on their Telford network. So there was some changes on the Telford network back in 2018. So the 3 had some minor timetable changes, along with which is the Telford to Brookside, and of course the 7 from Telford to Wellington. And that was when they first introduced the 8 from Telford to Bridgnorth via Broseley, and it became a new faster service, providing replacing in part of the Route 9, and did provide a faster, more direct service serving Madeley instead of Dorley. So that was a massive improvement to the Bridgnorth corridor. And the 9 just only operated between Bridgnorth and Wolverhampton, as we know today, with the section of the route between Telford and Bridgnorth replaced and in part by the route number 8. But however, there is going to be changes to the 9, because what I've heard, it's going to be happening in September, but I'll let you know when that comes. And the 10, which used to operate from Wolverhampton to Purton and Telford, that was then replaced by a revised service to only operate between Purton and Wolverhampton, only with the section of route between Telford and Shifnal served by the 14 and 14A, meaning if you needed to get to Albrighton these days, you'd have to use the Bangor buses 891, or there's also the train station as well. And however, Arriva have lost the 10 now, because National Express West Midlands do the 10 altogether. And of course the 13 that used to run from Telford, and of course the 13 which used to run to Overdale, got extended up to Oaken Gates to replace the original 14, and the 14 from Telford to Oaken Gates was rerouted to Shifnal, but now it only serves Priorslee. And so there was loads of different changes in terms of route. So anyway, here we are. We're now arriving into Stourport on 7 on the 294 route. And coming up on the right-hand side is the Treasure Island Amusement Fairground. And as you know, I'm a massive fan of that fairground, with the Dodgems and the Starflyer, and also the slot machines and the amusement arcade. And on the left-hand side, where you'll find the Crazy Golf, and also the Playland, and they do have go-karts on the Playland as well. So Treasure Island is one place to be. It's one iconic attraction, because as you know, there are adults riding as well as children's rides, because most of the adult rides are very high, especially with Freak Out. So anyway, here we go. We're now arriving at Stourport on 7 High Street. So that's the Worcester to Stourport section ticked off. And we're now going to continue with the journey to now include the 15C route between Stourport and the Stourport Road. So here we go. We're now entering Stourport High Street. So this is Stourport High Street. Okay then, guys, we're now on the second part of the route between Stourport and the Stourport Road. Where we are going to go via the 15C route. So we're now on our way towards Kidderminster. So we're just going through the high street. Now, as you probably know, Stourport has a lot of independent shops. But however, you do have big names, for example, like Tesco's as well. So you've got Tesco's here. And there's a Co-op and there's a Lidl. And but however, the rest of the shops are independent. And there is B&M Foods, which also used to be known as Woolworths. So here we go. We're now on our way. So we're now on our way to Kidderminster on the 294. And at the time of filming, the M&Co store was still open, but now that's closed. And here we go. We're now on our way towards Kidderminster. So we're now on our way to Kidderminster on the 294. So here we go. Now en route to Kidderminster. So I just hope that you're enjoying the journey so far. So let's continue on our journey all the way to Kidderminster. Anyway, we're now crossing the 296 route, which goes towards Bewdley on the 15C section, and of course the 294 through Burlish and Lick Hill. So here we go. We're now on our way towards Kidderminster, and I just hope that you're going to enjoy the remainder of the trip. And we have done extremely well so far here on the channel. Joe's Bus Train Plane Lift Adventures. So here we go. We're just now turning. So we're just turning right, and we're now at the next bus stop. So here we are. Just enjoy the remainder of the journey all the way to Kidderminster. Okay then, here we are, we're now arriving at Kidderminster, so this is the final destination for the 294. So I hope you enjoyed the journey. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more exciting videos that will be here on the channel. So we're now here at Kidderminster, so we've now just arrived at Kidderminster, and this is the terminus of the 294 route. From Worcester, so we're just going to enter the bus station by turning right here on the corner, left on the corner, sorry, at this mini roundabout. So by the Tesco petrol station, and of course you've got the Tesco supermarket, which is opposite the bus station. And so anyway, there's the building for the Kidderminster Library, public library. And so anyway, here is there's the building of the TK Maxx store. It used to be there used to be a DW Sports and JJB here. So here we are. We are now arrived at Kidderminster. Thank you for watching.